Okay, so I got everything here you're going to have in your kit, so let's just go through that really quick. You're going to get about 52 of these big jumbo sticks. Now, the packaging calls them perfect sticks, and I've noticed that after opening them, they're not all exactly perfect. So if you do end up one with that's a little bit bent, putting pressure on it when you glue them, it should straighten them out. I will try very hard not to give you any that are as wacky as this one, obviously. So if you do get one that's fairly bent as you're gluing it, if you hold it down with some pressure while the glue is drying, or else set a heavy book on top of it while the glue is drying, that should help keep them fairly flat. But again, I will try really hard not to give you any of these that are like super messed up. All right, so you're going to get about 52 of those. You're going to get 32 of these 1-inch wooden blocks. I'm going to go ahead and throw in one of these little strips of paint and a paintbrush if you want to paint some colors on your little lamp. And then you're going to get one of these little bottles of tacky glue. This is about 0.6 ounces. This should be enough to make your entire project. Just don't go, glue crazy. You should have enough. If you did one of our other projects that had the tacky glue, go ahead and use up the rest of that. And then, of course, you're going to have your little fairy lights that you will wind around your whole project once you're done. And so they got a little battery pack in here, and then, of course, they light up. Now, the camera doesn't do it justice. It's pretty bright, but these are all a bunch of different colors. It looks like there's white, red, blue, and green little twinkle lights. I don't know if you can see the colors or not. But I guarantee you, they have color. It's not all just white. Okay, so I'm just going to set this to the side. So the way that I'm going to be doing mine is I'm going to be putting these in little squares, sort of like how I did with the tissue tea light that we did a few weeks back, putting them in a square like that. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to probably alternate the square, one this way, and then turning one this way, and then of course back and forth, and then of course getting the blocks in between. You do not have to do this exact same shape. You can go crazy. You can use your imagination. If you are so inclined, you can make the Eiffel Tower. It's whatever you want to do. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. So I am going to speed up the video, and practically what I'm probably going to end up doing is gluing all of my square pieces together with the camera off. I don't think you really need to watch me glue these together. I'm gluing them basically the exact same way that we did with the tissue tea light, just making them, in a square. And I think that's going to end up making like 13 of these little squares, and then I'll have the blocks. And then once I have this all done and glued together, I'll go ahead and turn the video back on, and then you can just sit there and watch me build this thing up into a little lamp. Okay, so I'm just going to stop the recording now. I'm going to make this, and then I will come back, and then you can watch me put the whole thing together. Okay. I've got my little popsicle sticks put together. You're going to get actually more than this. I think you're going to get about enough to make 13 of these. I only made 8. You don't have to do this exact design. You can go crazy. So what I'm just going to do now is I am going to start gluing these together. And I think my design is going to end up being kind of like this. So what I'm going to do is I've got 8 of these, and I'm going to take them and make 4 of these that are stacked. And then I'm going to be using the little wooden blocks and sort of start layering it up. I'm thinking when I'm done it should be yay tall. You can go as tall as you guys want. So I'm going to speed up the video now, and I'm just going to start gluing these together. And hopefully, because, like I said before, these perfect sticks are not so perfect. So I might end up just putting a little glue here and here, and then just sort of letting them float over the pieces where it doesn't actually touch. So I'm going to speed up now, and start getting this glued together. All right, I've got these all together. Obviously, this one wasn't sitting very well, so I put the blocks on top to give it a little weight. But these ones, what I did is I just sort of fudged it around until I had the points right here where they would lay flat. So I'm just going to let these sit like this until the glue sets. Tacky glue is pretty cool. It does set pretty quickly, even though their website says it can take 12 to 24, maybe even 48 hours, depending on what you're gluing together. I have found that this tacky glue is usually pretty good after just 15 minutes. So I will be back in 15 minutes. I will start putting the bricks on here, and basically I'm going to put one set under here, and then I'm going to put ones here on these corners in order to let this stack. So I'm going to just hit pause and I'll be back in 15 minutes. Alright, so this one is in pretty sad shape. I'm going to probably re-glue this or just put the blocks back on and just let it sit overnight. So I think what I'll end up doing for now is just glue these three together, and then tomorrow I will finish up this last little guy and then show you the finished product. If you're going to paint these, what I would suggest you do is get the whole thing together. If you were to paint this first and then glue on your wooden blocks, over time, you know, maybe the paint peels and it'll, you know, loosen up the whole thing. So I'm going to just, I've got another package of those blocks. Since I am using that package to hold down those pieces, so just got to get this thing opened somewhere. Just going to take the first four, and I'm just going to pick one of these, and I'm going to flip it over for now, and I'm going to put these blocks, this will be my bottom tier, hopefully, and hopefully they won't lean too bad. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to put these blocks on this corner. These will be the legs of my lamp, and then I'm going to flip it over and then put blocks on the opposite side, and that'll end up raising up the next tier. So this is going to be the bottom of my lamp. So I am just going to speed up the video now. Alright, so I'm going to let this guy dry for about 15 or so minutes, then I'm going to come back over and hopefully I can flip it over and then start building up. Okay, so we have 15 minutes plus or minus has gone by, and we've got our first tier here. So what I want to do is I'm trying to decide whether or not to put the next set of blocks here or stack them here. I do kind of think it'd be cooler to put them here, and so maybe put my next tier and put the blocks here. Now that one's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I think it would kind of look cool. So that's what I'm going to do now, and it's going to be really quick because I only have 10 minutes before I have to be somewhere. So I'm going to speed up the clock and put on the next set. So this little one here does not want to sit flat, so I'm just going to see if I can weigh this down just a tad to get it to sit here. It doesn't quite want to sit there. Oh, that was a little too heavy. Let's just try this. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend using electronics for weighting down your craft projects, but it's what I have at hand. Okay, so that should stay fairly flat. We'll see what happens when I do the next tier, because I can see like this one is leaning in a little bit, so is this one. Just once again, because our quote-unquote perfect sticks are not so perfect. Okay, so next time you see me, this is going to be completely built, and then I will start wiring up. Now, I'm pretty perfectly, personally, I do like the natural look of the wood, so I'm probably not going to paint it. So painting it is optional for you. You know, you got your paint. Once everything is glued together, I would paint it and then let it sit for a full day before you start wiring up your lights. Okay, well, I have to be somewhere, so this is where I'm going to say goodbye for the day, and then you will see a finished tower. It's not going to be that much of a tower. It's probably going to be about 4 or 5 inches tall, maybe a little bigger. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow. All right, so it is the second day, and this is nice and dry. So I am going to take my next tier, and I am going to basically match it with the very first layer here, which is going to end up being kind of like this. Now, when I was looking at this, you know, I was noticing that because, you know, you've got all these different layers and all that, what I'm probably going to end up doing is I'm going to put a little dab of glue in each corner, and what it's going to do is the bottom layers here, it's going to rest on that. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the glue on here, get these on, and I think I'm just going to take the entire block of these little wooden blocks for weight, and then just set it on top and just let it dry. Okay, so I'm going to speed up the video now. So while this block is setting up the glue setting, I just thought I would go ahead and just unwind the little light. So basically the tail end of the string is basically what's holding these. Go ahead and very carefully, because you can tell these guys they're kind of fragile. So I would start out with very carefully just straightening this out as much as you can. Be careful. You don't want to break your strand of lights. Alright. Now you can see this guy's pretty whack. Let me see if I can get this as best I can without destroying it. What the heck? Okay, I've got to go back through here. And then back through here. What? Okay, I'm getting there. All right, here we go. And then there you go. So it's a fairly good long one. This is what, about 3 feet. Once it's extended, and even though it kind of looks white on the camera, but these are some colors. We've got red, white, green, blue. Alright, so as soon as I am done, this is going to be so much fun stringing this sucker. One note about the lights, there are, you can replace the batteries. These are not the easiest things to open, and it looks like these screws might actually be holding it shut. I have not used this particular brand of lights before, so it looks to me like you would have to unscrew this in order to get the batteries out to replace them. Now these batteries with these LEDs, they do last quite a long time. LEDs do not take a lot of juice. However, though, if you just leave it on 24/7, they won't last long. But when you want a nice little ambiance in your room, a night light, got to get up in the middle of the night to use the potty or something, just turn that on and you can have enough light to see and not go blind from the sudden glare of an overhead light, which I hate. Okay, so yes, we got about 3 foot here, and that's going to be brilliant because we're just going to wind this sucker all around that. Okay, looks like this is done. The binder clip worked really well. I had this one piece that just would not sit down because of the wacky nature of these perfect sticks. So I've got one more set of blocks to glue on that, and then I will finish it off with this last piece. Alright, this is definitely sat long enough. I have my little sculpture all finished. This is pretty crazy looking. So what I'm going to do now is I am just going to take my string of lights here, if I can get it untangled. And you've got about 3 feet of this stuff. I'm just going to start randomly just sort of weaving it in and out, and what I want to do is the little battery pack, I'm just going to have it sort of coming out the back here. You can glue it to the back if you want. That is an option, but just remember, whichever way you glue this, you're going to need to be able to unscrew these in order to open the battery pack if you ever want to replace the batteries. So, keep that in mind if you decide to glue this somewhere onto your lamp. So, I'm just going to start weaving this in and out. See if I can just pull this through. And do not, I would definitely recommend that you do not yank. This wire is a little fragile. And so I'm just gonna maybe move it up to the next tier right here. And then just carefully pull it through. You can wind this tighter, you can wind it loose. It's whatever you feel comfortable doing. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll bring this up through the top, maybe spin it this way. See if I can get some more of this light to go through. Okay, so I brought it up through the top, and then maybe, let's bring it through the second tier right here. And then maybe we'll bring it, depending on where you want the front to be. Why don't this side here be the front? And then I'm going to wind it back through here. And then what I might do here is I'm just going to maybe finish it. I'm going to just maybe put the last little light through one of these little holes in my wood blocks here. And I think what I'm going to do is just bend the wire a little bit so it sort of hooks on. But you sort of get the drift of how this works. So I'm going to turn the light off really quick so you can sort of see this. So there is my little table lamp. And let's see if I can kind of make this wire look a little better. You know, and I might play with this a little bit, but I'm going to turn the lights off right now, and we'll see kind of what this looks like. Oh, and I kicked it. Sorry. All right, so I think you can see that now. Obviously, I've got the lights on from the outside here, but you can sort of see the little lights going through. You could just like wind this around the edges. Instead of what I did is I looped some of the wire up here, and you can probably hide the wire a little bit better if you don't go over the top like I did. But yeah, you can do whatever you like. So this is my little table lamp, and it works great basically as a night light. Obviously, you're not going to read to this because it's not that bright, but it is a nice little night light table lamp. And then I would just leave the little switch here somewhere you can easily get to it, and then that way you can turn it on and off. The paints, if you want to go ahead and paint it, go for it. You can bejewel this thing, you can glue beads to it, you can put pretty stones on it, you can pretty much do whatever you like with this. You can even maybe stain this and make it look like a really nice wood, even though these are super cheap tongue depressors that were bent. But anyway, there it is. I had fun. Hope you enjoy it, and we will see you next time for our next little project. Okay guys, bye.